Hey guys, I'm Sandra Younger, and for this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make an adjustable slide knot necklace, and that is the type with the two knots on the side that you pull to make it longer or shorter. So what I do is I start off with 37 inches of cord, and right here I'm using a 37 inches of faux leather, and this faux leather is 1 millimeter thick. And if you're going to be adding a pendant on, the first thing you want to do is slide the pendant on. So right now we have it even. Now what we're going to do is, let's not mess this up. Let's put it around our head, just like that. What you want to do is find the maximum opening. So let's see, okay, make sure that these are even. Okay, see how the ends are even? And this is pretty good. Because you don't want it to be too short, or you don't want it to be too long, because then you won't be able to adjust it to the length you want. Right there. So what I'm going to do now is that little spot right where I'm holding it with my fingers, just like right here, we are going to be clipping that into the board and making the knots. So let's do that now. So here I have a pin and a clip an inch apart. In that little spot where I was holding it, I'm going to clip it into the board, and I'm going to put the two cords in back of the peg that's on the board. I'm going to take another peg, and that loose one, I'm going to wrap it three times, because there's already one wrap. Now there's 2, 3, and 4. Then I hold it, take the peg out, and then I'm going to feed this end through the coils. I'm just going to kind of tug on it a little bit. I'm going to not touch it anymore. I'm going to pull this peg out, and then I'm going to turn this around, and then I'm going to put the peg back in. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. So if you notice, now this side is the cord's going to be on the bottom of the tube, but that is okay. It's not going to affect your results at all. So now we're going to do the same thing. So there's 1, there's 2, 3, 4. And you hold it, take your peg out, and then feed that end through the coils. Then you just kind of tighten it down like that, and now we're going to remove this peg. We are going to remove it from the clip, and now we're just going to pull and kind of snug them down. You don't want to make them too tight, just nice and snug. And one thing you need to be careful about with this kind of necklace, never open it all the way like this and then pull really tight, because when you do that, what happens is it tightens these knots even more, and then it makes it almost impossible to make it slide, which, defeats the purpose. So let's just make this a little bit snug. Snug. And since this is faux leather, what I'm going to do is I'm going to melt the ends like this into balls, so that way it doesn't come apart. But there's a tip that I have for you, because if you try melting this into a ball, it's going to melt this part right here, and then you're going to have a nasty kink in your cord. So what I do is, let me move this out of the way. I don't know where I found this, but it seems to work pretty well. It's like a magnet with a clip, but you can use just about anything, as long as you can you get your knot and you pull this part away, and all you want to do is get something in between here to protect this cord. I don't know why, I just randomly grabbed this and it seemed to do a really good job. So I'm just going to clip that right there. See how it just created a barrier on the cord? So what you're going to do is cut it out right there, probably about I don't know, it's less than 1/4 of an inch, but it's more than 1/8. So I don't know. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my lighter, and let me just get this closer in, just as close as possible. That's what you want to do. You're going to take your lighter. And always make sure the flame is going away from, okay, right there. Blow on it for a couple of seconds so it cools off, because you don't want to tap this one down, because if you tap it down, what happens is it makes like a button, but with real sharp edges. Now we take that off. As you can see, it didn't melt this part of the cord. So now we're going to do the same thing on this side. All right, let's trim it. Just make sure that when you look at it, just make sure that absolutely no part of that. Let me move. I don't feel comfortable. Let me move that down a little bit right there. Okay. No, I'm going to trim that a little bit more because I don't need that much. But I mean, unfortunately, you cannot melt like leather or cotton cord. So your options are you could either put like a crimp tube at the end and just crimp it down so the knot doesn't come undone, or you could just, you know, leave it, but always leave like a little bit extra, because I've seen so many of these come apart. So there you have it. So, and this one will not come apart. So that is how you do this. Okay, this is part 2 of the adjustable slide knot necklace, and this time we are going to be adding a pendant, but it's tied on with a moose knot, and then we're going to go in and make the adjustable slide knot. So for this necklace, I'm going to be using 43 inches of faux leather, and I'm going to attach the pendant using a moose knot. And remember, you need to offset your cords, because when you make a moose knot, those coils do need cord. So let's do that right now. So what I have done here, I slid my pendant on, and I have my cords offset by about 5 inches. And when I clip them in, the longer one's going to go on top. So let's just make sure that the longer one is on top. Okay, so let's clip that in, and then make the moose knot. Now you can make it as many, you know, as long as you want to make the knot. So let's see. I think I'm going to go, let's go 5. Oh, and remember another thing you could do, you could also add, oh, let's just do it now. Why not? Let's add a large hole bead in there. Okay. So give it a little extra drama. You put a, see that? Just make sure that the hole of the bead is big enough so that it goes through twice. Just kind of keep your eye on it. Okay. So now we're going to take that long side and going to make a moose knot. I'm going to go 1, 2, let's go 4, 3. Okay. So that's going to be a 4-looped moose knot. So should I go one more? Why not? Let's go one more. Make it a 5-looper. Okay, so I'm going to hold it there. I'm going to take the peg out. And now I'm going to feed that end through the coils. All right. I'm going to take this off. So now we have our pendant tied on, and so we're going to go back and find that center point. So just like we did before, so what we do is now this part is really important, because if you don't get it exactly right this time when you make the 2 knots, and because remember, this is dead center now, so it's like, okay, so what you do is you wrap this around, then you like hold it like this, and then when you take this off, make sure that the pendant is like, in other words, you don't want the center, when you take it off your head, to be lopsided. You want to make sure that it's perfectly 100% like right there. So now we're going to clip this onto the board and do our 2 moose knots. Okay, so now I have the center clipped in right there, and now we're going to make our knot here. So 1, 2, 3. Fold and remove this. Okay, there's that side. I'm going to snug it. I'm going to take this peg out, turn this around, put this side in, and do exactly the same thing. So there's 1, 2, and 3. It's basically the same as you did before, except, you just got to make sure that your pendant is like extremely centered. And I'll show you why in just a second. Let me, giving me some trouble. Oh, goodness. Okay. Snug it down and then pull this and then that. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what's going to happen if it's not like completely centered. So when you go to close it, if it isn't completely centered, let's make sure, the knots will be like off. Let's see. Now let's see, how can we fix that? If it comes off a little bit like off-centered, sometimes it has to do with the tension on this knot. So if you like tighten a little bit, which I did, it improved. Let's make it even, yeah, let's tighten it more. And there we have it. So now what you do is you come in and you melt the ends here. And I'm not going to melt them, I'm just going to like trim them here and here. And then it's really cool because if you want this necklace to be really short, you could bring these knots like all the way. I mean, it depends on how big or small your neck is, but you can have something that looks like that. And if you're going to do something like this, these are kind of distracting, so I do recommend just melting those into balls, just like we did on this one. Anyway, so that is how you do this. Well, here I finished the ends. I went ahead and melted them, and look how pretty that looks. I just think it looks really nice. So that way you can like make it long or short, and yeah, it just looks really nice. And remember, if you're using leather, you don't try gluing the ends because you'll just end up gluing the knots to your cord. Maybe putting like a crimp bead or something will hold it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed these couple of tutorials.